Hello, my name is Edward Dent, and welcome to my discussion post video today, and I hope you enjoy. So I guess we'll just get started with the first question, which is kind of simplified down to why is cigarette smoking still the leading cause of illness and death in the past 50 years, and it still is today, and kind of why that is. So I wanted to tackle it from more of a health behavior type perspective than an epidemiological perspective, I guess. And I wanted to consider the specific individual and the individuals that we're talking about. Because personally, I know a lot of people who still smoke cigarettes every day, and they don't plan to stop anytime soon, even though they're aware of what the scientific literature says, or what people have told them, what the advertisements have said, and all of that kind of stuff. And we got to consider that some of these people have been smoking cigarettes for a while now, and then they smoke every day, and they haven't necessarily noticed any health concerns or health issues when they're smoking. They haven't gotten lung cancer themselves, and it's been a while. And then they may not see themselves as necessarily vulnerable to lung cancer. Oh, I've done this for years. It hasn't caused anything. Why would I stop now? It feels good. It's a good sensation, I guess, from the cigarette. And thus, people are going to want to continue it even with this kind of theoretical knowledge. And we also have to consider that nicotine and which is in cigarettes, is an addictive substance. So it's going to be not just, oh, okay, yeah, there's some health stuff, I've got to quit. It's going to take a significant amount of motivation in order to move one to stop smoking cigarettes. And we have to consider that the people 50 years ago, they may have had these kind of environments in which it prompted them to smoke cigarettes, and even though they may want to, I have a lot of friends who want to stop nicotine, maybe not smoking, but the little vape things, and they've tried a lot, they've tried pretty hard, and they're having a hard time because of that physiological response that's backing the cigarette use. And then we also have to consider the cultures that people are in. Still, even though we have a lot of these advertisements that say it's bad, smoking advertisements is still in some kind of groups considered quote unquote cool, and it's a social thing to do. If someone wants to offer you a cigarette, hey, why not? And you have to really consider the health effects. And if you're not necessarily in the healthcare realm or in the public health realm, like many of us are, it can be hard to see the actual effects of cigarette smoking. I'm going to move on to the second question. What type of cause would cigarette smoking be? So, of course, we can look at this from a variety of different type of models. So, first, I kind of would describe it as a sufficient cause, but not a necessary cause. And that's, of course, because smoking, we all know that it can cause lung cancer. It very likely will. And a lot of people who smoke a lot. But there are, of course, people who don't smoke who acquire lung cancer from a variety of other reasons. And then if we can go from kind of the sufficient but not necessary, we can look at the classical determination kind of model, and it would be, I think, considered a single agent cause because the main statement is there is necessary and or sufficient. It meets that or sufficient kind of parameter, so it would be considered a single agent cause by that model. And then we can also look at a kind of third way of looking at it from a type of cause, would be that it's a direct cause versus an indirect cause. You smoke the cigarette, and the active ingredients in the cigarette and the smoking of it causes damage to the cells immediately, basically. From smoking, the body can repair a lot of that damage, especially early on, but over time, it's that cigarette smoking directly that causes the cells in your lungs to become cancerous and develop into basically non-functioning cells because they keep replicating over time because of that damage directly from that cigarette instead of a more causal chain that we've seen in other types of causes, right? So the third kind of point or question rather, what exposure-disease relationship is kind of going on a similar path to cigarette smoking. So what I kind of thought of when I heard this question was alcohol. I used to drink a little bit a while ago, but I really don't anymore because of the health issues and my personal medical history and all of that stuff. and then really looking into it. In today's kind of culture, alcohol is very sociable. It's a very ingrained in a lot of parts of our society. Hey, you want to go after work to go to the bar? Something like that. It's very common. And even though there are a lot of kind of health effects that can be damaging from alcohol, we kind of ignore them. Even though the literature does have some evidence, of course, it's not as strong as smoking, nothing near that. But there is kind of evidence to support that it causes kind of a variety of different issues. Of course, it can cause cirrhosis, damage to the liver, as well as it's linked to a lot of other kind of issues, alcohol use disorder, which of course is directly caused by the alcohol. But it has there's some literature out there saying that it may have effects on what's called heart disease, especially at higher amounts, as well as possibly being a risk factor for cancer, even though it's not necessarily a cause for cancer. And then the one that I really wanted to kind of talk about, since I've worked as an EMT and in various emergency departments, alcohol and what's called physical traumas and accidents. That's kind of a major kind of thing. It's not necessarily a health issue directly, like a medical issue, but it does kill a lot of people, and that is from alcohol use. But we can focus more on the cirrhosis type thing from the liver and a lot of the other kind of medical things if you want to look at specific association to causation, exposure versus cause type relationship. And also the fact that it has that kind of addictive nature, and I've seen in my life from loved ones that alcohol can have a significant detrimental effect. But because of the advertisements out there, you see the beer advertisements, the liquor advertisements, and it's kind of the big alcohol market does kind of hide all of those under the covers, and it's like, hey, just have a drink. And I think in the future we may see that it has more detrimental health effects once kind of more research is done in the field, and it will become more established. Because as we were talking about in the video, it does take a significant amount of literature for people to really change their views, right? And then I believe that's all the 3 questions. And thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.